Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video. And in today's video, I am joined by my brother. This is a weekly series at this point.
Facts, facts.
But joined by my brother once again, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, just introduce yourself as always.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Synsei Inc. You know what I mean? Also known as Sin by the real ones in the community. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Here, humbled to be back on the channel once again. Yo, you might as well just make this a series at this point, like brothers talk One Piece type beat for real.
God, much
Glad we're
love.
here today though, man. We're actually talking about something interesting, boy. Why don't you let them know what we talking about today?
I about probably a week ago I made a video talking about, are the Admirals overrated? Are they underrated? Are they just placed just right? And that kind of sparked the idea. And we're like, why don't we talk about, the community consensus and how it shifts and how the perspective of the Admirals versus Yonko's debate has gone since we've, been a part of the community and everything.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And as you see on the screen right now, got this fire, art in the background. I kind of, getting rocked by Big Whitebeard, you know what I mean? I guess I'll start a little bit, and we can go from there. But I think the thing that kind of makes the community shift so much when it comes to Admirals versus Yonkos is the perception of Marineford. So something that I've noticed is people's idea of what happened between the Whitebeard and Akainu fight seems to shift a lot. Like I remember when I first got into the community, people used to say things like, the Yonkos can't be beaten by just one admiral. It would take two, sometimes people even said three admirals to beat a Yonko. And that's because they felt like Whitebeard just did so tremendously and he was sick. In their mind, they think, a prime Yonko, someone like a Kaido, a Shanks, a Big Mom at that time was stronger than sick Whitebeard. So because Whitebeard did such a good job against Akainu, and Akainu being one of the stronger admirals, people seem to think, it seems like the Yonkos are just tremendous in regards of strength in comparison to the counterparts, the admirals. But something that I feel like people forget about, Vor, and I'll let you talk about a little bit more in detail, is that what happened after Akainu got attacked by Whitebeard.
Yeah, man. A lot of people don't realize that, yeah, he may have, lost that exchange. A lot of people don't remember that he actually wasn't just out of commission. He was using his lava to build a tunnel to get to Jinbei. He was trying to do, his job. He fought Whitebeard. He dealt fatal damage to him at that point. He was gonna die regardless of whether, Blackbeard came or not. Well, I would assume so, since he had half of his face was blown off. But he was actually building a tunnel to go to Jinbei and Luffy. And then after that, he got stopped by Marco and I think Vista. Might have been just Marco. And then he proceeds to fight, I think, 14 commanders of Whitebeard's ship. And a lot of people don't take that into account.
Yeah, which I think is kind of, a little bit disingenuous and a little bit unfair when coming to scaling Akainu against this Whitebeard or just Yonkos in general. For him to, tunnel off, people think, oh, he was ducking smoke. He didn't want the combat anymore against Whitebeard. But I think it's what you said. I think he was just so focused on his job and stopping Luffy because at that point, he's just like, look, Ace is already, out of commission, but there's another threat that could come back and get vengeance for his brother that I've already killed. I need to take care of him. This is the son of the world's most wanted man. So in his mind, he had tunnel vision on Luffy. So I feel like him tunneling away was, as you said, it was just him really wanting to do his job. And then he fights 14 commanders of Whitebeard's crew. Again, like you said, I just feel like people aren't taking that into perspective. So I guess the thing that we have to really look at is something that people say, right? And I want to talk about some of the arguments people have. At least people say, well, if the Yonkos are so equal to admirals, or if admirals are so equal to Yonkos, then why did they prepare all of their forces for Whitebeard's arrival? So Vor, do you want to explain that in detail, why they were preparing that way?
So basically, my argument against that is just like in episode 0 or chapter 0, whichever one you're watching or whatever. basically in Marineford, when Shiki escaped and came back to Marineford, they, he is Roger's equal. Garp, someone who else is, Roger's rival, he had to double team him. And I feel like the reason they prepared so much for an old sick Whitebeard is the same reason why they double team Shiki. They wanted to keep the damages to a minimum. That's my perspective on it, because when Whitebeard basically, flung his first attack at the, at the pedestal where, the admirals are, they blocked it. They have to keep the damages to a minimum. And basically, it kind of ties into why Aokiji, he froze the water and everything. They were trying to keep the damages to a minimum, and when somebody with such destructive force comes into your base, you kind of have to panic. If someone like Rayleigh pulled up with the same crew that was beside Whitebeard, even though some people may say that they're in the same tier, I don't know if they would have been as on guard as someone like a Prime Rayleigh or something, because he doesn't have that destructive capability as Whitebeard does. But what's your take on it?
So my take on this situation is that they were preparing for a prime Whitebeard, and that's something that I feel like people don't take into perspective as well. Like, they weren't preparing for this old sick Whitebeard, in my opinion. They were preparing for a prime Whitebeard, who we know is the greatest rival next to Zebek of Roger, in my opinion. Someone that has a fleet of pirates with him and an entire Yonko crew. So they were preparing for the worst. And like you said, they're trying to mitigate as many damages as possible. It's not that they're trying to prepare because they're weaker. It's they're over preparing so they can pretty much shield and muffle as much damage as possible while still completing the objective.
Yep.
So I think to say, oh, they prepared a lot for Whitebeard is, again, disingenuous to their strength, because it's not like, oh, I'm afraid we have to like have everybody here because we can't stop them. It's, I think that this could potentially be a prime Whitebeard, and of course they wouldn't say prime Whitebeard, but you know what I mean. They're expecting the rival to Roger, and as you said earlier, going into this point, the fact that they double team Shiki because he is a rival to Roger. And Whitebeard's the same, so they prepared for him the same that they would have prepared for Shiki. This is just how they operate. And in my mind, it's like, why come unprepared when you have the forces available? Just bring them all. You know what I mean? Because it is what it is.
And another point to the Shiki thing is the Shiki's devil fruit makes things levitate. He was literally like throwing ships at Marineford, like he was throwing like whole freaking army fleets, at the thing. Like, you have to double team because you can't just destroy Marineford.
Yeah. Now I do want to play devil's advocate here because you have to be fair to both sides, and I do want to say that on the same token, I do believe that they were apprehensive about the situation due to the sheer strength of a Yonko. We have to take that into consideration as well. So it's kind of a balance on both sides, right? So they over prepare, but they also know, like, look, this could be potentially dangerous. So it's not to discredit the Yonko at all. They're actually giving them a lot of credit, in my opinion, for preparing that way. It's kind of a respect thing. Like, look, we know what you're capable of, especially with them even reaching out to the warlords. They really wanted the warlords there. Garp even saying they're glad Rayleigh didn't come. We can't handle two legends at once. So we know that they're giving respect to the Yonko. It's just, I think that it's not just, oh, we can't beat them without all of this. It's, we want to make sure that we're prepared to the best of our ability.
As soon as Whitebeard, touched down in Marineford, like, Sengoku was like, yeah, this is the strongest man in the world, the person who has the power to destroy, the entire world. So, like, that kind of plays into it as well. Of course, they're over preparing, but like, it's not for no reason, like one-on-one, even in a one-on-one scenario, not in terms of like Marineford or whatever. The Yonko in general, I think, are gonna have like the overall advantage. And just in general, I have more Yonko over the Admiral than I do, vice versa or whatever.
Exactly. I think the thing is, though, Vor, is like how much, right? Because I don't want to me, it's like I have the Yonko over the Admiral, right? Yeah. Some people say Yonkos equal Admirals, and I'm not mad at that take. I, for one, have them over them. But I think for me, it takes like 1.5 Admirals to beat a Yonko. It's not 2 or and it's definitely not 3 in my opinion. I feel like that's just overkill, and that just used to be the consensus in the community. So I kind of want to at this point like shift the argument a little bit away from Marineford and kind of talk about like future altercations, because let's talk about like narrative, right? Another reason why I feel like admirals are supposed to be held at a higher regard is just the way the story is going. I think that it's a possibility that some of these admirals could be villains that the Straw Hats and maybe other allied forces fight against in the end game of One Piece. And for me, if they're that late into the game and still relevant, then I believe that's for a reason. It's because they're very powerful. Like the fact that Luffy may fight an Akainu and Zoro may fight a Fuji, or Sanji might fight a Kizaru after they've already fought Big Mom and Kaido, it says something.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was gonna say like narratively, I feel like they can't be out of that range because like the final war is gonna be the final, like probably the final arc in the story, right? Assuming, some people think that Zoro's fight with Mihawk is going to be, is going to be after everything. But if you think about it, if that is the case and he fights, Kizaru, Fuji, whoever the Marine is, that's going to be his last stepping stone into reaching Mihawk's level, who is, for most people at least, I would say, a fair range for Mihawk. He's at least top 5 to me. If he's going to have this, extremely hard fight versus the Admirals, then that would kind of, to me, put them on a similar pedestal, like at least in the same range to me as, a Shanks, Mihawk, whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that take at all. I think something that people have to like take into consideration is the narrative. I know a lot of times people don't want to use like the plot as any type of excuse for an argument, and that's not what I'm trying to do. It's just if these are their last opponents before like the very end, if Blackbeard is after them, if Emu and like the Gorosei or anybody is after them in the end game, I feel like we have to take that into consideration. Like Akainu as Fleet Admiral being potentially the last opponent for maybe a Luffy and Sabo, even though I still heavily believe that it's Blackbeard that'll be the last opponent for Luffy, maybe Umu, but I'm leaning towards Blackbeard. But Akainu even being in endgame like that and potentially being a fight that Luffy could be involved in says a lot, because Luffy is about to be the one, in my eyes, to defeat a Kaido. Now, of course, he's not doing it alone. However, I think that he's going to do most of the damage against the Yonko here. And at this point, he may not be able to 1v1 a Yonko, but I think that he'd be able to like start tussling with Admirals. And for me to say that after Wano and still Akainu be later down the line says a lot. Now, I want to ask you this because this is more getting into like tier list type of area, but you know how there's like Yonko level, people say an Admiral level. Do you feel like there's difference in those tiers? Like some people say that the Admirals are all pretty much equal, but I disagree. I think they're in the same tier, like they're relative. However, their power levels could be different, if that makes sense. And the same for the Yonko. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's obviously that there's going to be like a range in each named category or rank or whatever, but to me, I think it all depends on like person to person. Cause like someone like say Fujitora or Green Bull, or I don't know about Kizaru. Kizaru is a weird one for me, so I'll just use them too. I hold them at a lesser standard, even if they are kind of in that same range. I do kind of hold them at a lesser standard than someone like Akainu, which has a lot more narrative purpose to me for being that strong. The way Fujitora talked in Dressrosa, he's saying how he kind of was like, I don't want to capture you. I want to, be your friend. I want to know how you look. So someone like Fujitora has less, I don't want to say relevance, but less of a reason to be on the strength level of someone like Akainu, which is going to be either way if you have him before, Blackbeard or after Blackbeard slash Emu as a final opponent. They're going to be back to back. They're going to be close. I feel like I have some of the Admirals over the Yonko maybe, and some of them, it's all person to person,
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what it like really boils down to, is that these are just titles. And yes, there are admirals. And yes, there's a prerequisite strength to be an admiral. However, there's no ceiling. And the same for Yonko, there's no ceiling. So
Yep.
you could be a Yonko and admiral and be lower than a certain Yonko, but above another one, and vice versa. You could be a Yonko that's above an admiral, or you could be below one. Like, and I think people don't take that into perspective, because like you said, there's more reason for Akainu in your eyes at least to be stronger than Fuji. And I'm not
Yeah.
mad at that take, but I'm also not mad at someone that says, oh well, I think Fujitora is as powerful as Akainu. I'm
Yeah.
not mad at
Exactly.
either take. I think what people need to understand though is that these admiral levels, Yonko levels, are not things that Oda has implemented. These are things the community use to help better adjust their ideas of power level.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like, okay, we use admiral level and Yonko level kind of to label where these people are, but
Yeah.
things can vary there. And I think people get so tied up into the like labels and the titles that we give these individuals that they don't think for themselves in regards to, okay, how strong is this individual admiral? Like, how strong
Yeah.
is Akainu? How strong
Yeah.
is Aokiji? How strong is
Exactly.
Kizaru? How strong is Kaido, Big Mom, Shanks? Like,
Yeah.
and they don't really try to adjust them and think of each person individually. Once they get to
Yeah.
the top 10, I feel like they just say, no, all the Yonko are over all the admiral, instead of trying to look at feats and then power scale that way.
And another point with the title thing is like, in the One Piece world, you look at an admiral. When Zoro and Dressrosa found out that Fujito was an admiral, he was like, okay, I can't play with this guy. This is one of the top guys. When you look at a Yonko, it's they have this overwhelming betrayal as well. You either join them or you die by him. But in the to us looking at from a bird's eye view, it's like, okay, this dude as an admiral, which is the same position as someone that has way less feats than him. This dude that is an admiral, I think is over Yonko, and it's just like the way us fans look at the titles opposed to the actual One Piece world is just so drastically different. I just find that really funny.
No, 100%. I think it's like something that people don't take into consideration often, and they definitely should. How are these people viewed? What is their portrayal in the verse? Not the portrayal based on what we think of them, but how do people look at them in the One Piece world? Like, you look at moments like with Doflamingo and Aokiji. You look at moments like Fujitora and Zoro. You look at moments in Marineford with certain admirals. And then you look at it and you have to think, okay, well, it's vice versa. You look at certain individuals like Kizaru was toying around and joking with Ben Beckman, but he also was respecting him. You look at
Yeah.
moments like that. You look at moments with Rayleigh, they respect him. Look at moments with Whitebeard, they over prepared, they respect him. It's a respect thing. They both get respect from different individuals that are powerful in the verse.
Yeah.
But I think because, like I said, going back to it, we get so tied up in the words Yonko and Admiral, and we just have a prerequisite as Yonkos are stronger, that we overlook the portrayal from other characters as well.
And yeah, I can't really add anything on it. I think you hit the nail. You hit the nail in the head.
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
sure, for sure. So I guess close the argument out, or the conversation out. How, in your opinion, how many admirals does it take to defeat a Yonko, or do you have Yonkos and admirals equal?
oh man, okay. So I haven't looked at my top 30 list in a long, long time. So I don't I haven't thought about it. But the last time I looked, I think Akainu was top 4 or something like that. So I do have him over some Yonko. I'm not sure which one yet. Looking back at it, because my perspective has changed on mainly the Yonko and some of the Admiral. But I think I have them on a similar playing field just in general. Like if you were to give them all number ranks as one the weakest, 10 the strongest, you average them all out, I think they would be similarly. Assuming Green Bull and Fujitor are like in the similar range. If we add them all up and then compare it to the Yonkos average, I think they would be close. But I know you think 1.5.
I think about 1.5, but again, I'm not mad because there's like arguments you can make to say they're equal as well.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like one of those
I'm not mad either.
situations where we're just like trying to be as unbiased as possible. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And I feel like because of that, um, we're basically looking at it and saying, it could be that they're equal, but it also could be a slight edge to the Yonkos. And I think that's kind of where both of our opinions lie, to be fair.
yeah,
It could really go either way. But I think that once we get into like it being 2.5, 3, I feel like that's just too much, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was about to say, I'm glad throughout the years and stuff that that has changed because I
It
do not
used
like
to
that
really
second
be
off.
like that, bro. People used to say it
Yeah,
takes
bro.
3 Admirals to beat 1 Yonko.
Crazy to me,
I
bro.
think it changed a lot once Wano happened because like the perspective of the Yonkos changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing the supernovas do very well against them.
You look at Marineford where Akainu fights 14 commanders when he's already damaged, by the way, and already and after the fight he doesn't have much damage, much added damage from them. And then you look at Wano, with Kaido facing off against the Scabbards. This is the most durable man probably to ever live, and they're puncturing his skin. They're not scarring him, but they are, they're doing damage at the very least. And you look at it, compare the two, and you got to kind of question it in a bit. That's where I seen all of the opinions shift. I don't know about you, but I
Yeah,
remember like as soon as that
the
happened,
Scabbards. Yeah,
the first chapter they fought, it looked like they were invincible. They looked so good that a lot of people thought they were going to finish the fight out.
yeah. People were like, "Man, Kaido's gonna lose to the Scabbards." Like, I think a lot of that goes into like Marineford scaling a little bit. It's a little iffy at times just due to hockey.
Yeah,
Because like Oda had to showcase Rio with the Scabbards, so it's just like it could go either way. I think
yeah,
a little bit is due to the plot, and that's kind of how and why I look that way. But the moment Oda was done showcasing it, Kaido just completely
yeah,
turns up, and he doesn't even go hybrid against them, and then tells them that they're weak and that their attacks are shallow, and then he just literally destroys all of them. So
yeah,
I think it was more so Oda just showcasing Rio real quick, like, all right, let the Scabbards get their stuff off real quick, and
yeah,
then I'm gonna show y'all what a Yonko is, and then we got to
yeah,
see it. So same thing with Luffy with Koden, man. He got his 30 minutes and then he got folded.
yeah.
So it's just it is what it is, man. But
Unfortunately, he get his looks back.
yeah, he gonna get his licks back.
Yeah, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying, coming on again. Pause on that.
Yeah, big pause.
Big pause on that. But coming on to the channel. Yeah, it was very fun. This probably is going to be a weekly thing.
Yeah, nah, facts. It's just like there's so much to talk about, and it's fire to like get to actually have conversations on video with you now that you have a channel. So it's like,
Yeah, it's like, and plus like remember the first video I did, like 30 people were like, yeah, I can't wait to see your takes. And I remember one person was like, okay, I'll check your videos out every here and there, but like I'm waiting to see your actual takes on everything to subscribe.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so people want to see your
So,
takes.
like,
So we gotta
that's
get
it.
these out. You feel me?
Yeah. This is like, my resume, building up my resume.
Yeah,
So like
building it up
I have
for
my
you.
takes over there. I have my takes out there, so like 3 years later y'all can look back at this and be like, okay, you know what
Okay,
I'm
boy.
saying?
They gonna check you on stuff. They're gonna be like, nah, but
Yeah,
in that
bro.
one video, yo, you said, you know how it goes, bro.
Yeah, bro. But as we close this video out, if you could please subscribe, like the video, and turn on those post notifications, that would be greatly appreciated. It
Facts.
takes and it's free, and it only takes a few seconds and makes a tremendous difference.
That's a fact, bro. And then go to
Like,
my channel and then be like,
like,
psych, I lied. And then come back and double back and subscribe. Yo, unsubscribe and then resubscribe to my man. Yo, like double
and
subscribe. You
make
feel me?
make two more accounts,
Yeah,
subscribe to
facts.
me two more times,
That's
watch my videos 10 times back.
facts. Yeah, run them up, run the watch time up. You know what I
You know what
mean,
I'm
be real
saying?
close to 1,000. So we gotta get that watch time up. You feel me?
Like, I'm almost halfway there, so I'll be there in probably like a month, or you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, something like.
Hopefully, you know what I'm saying.
She
The
already,
faster, y'all can get me monetized, the faster I'm gonna put videos out. I'm gonna have
that's a
an
fact. You know what I mean? Cause then he gonna really be going crazy.
Make a video every day. I'm about to be on your time.
Yeah, type time and get that bread up. Get your money up, not your funny up for real. And we got our funny up too. On top of that, we
Facts, of
giving them
course.
both for real.
And until next time, peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.